Ever see something so bizarre, so completely out there that you think, wait, that can't be real, right? Aviation has had plenty of those moments. From pancake-shaped planes to flying giants made of wood, humanity's quest to conquer the skies has led to some seriously weird ideas. Today, we're diving into the strangest, oddest aircraft designs ever to take flight, or at least attempt to. Let's start with a dish best served airborne, the Vought V-173, affectionately dubbed the Flying Pancake. During World War II, the U.S. Navy needed a plane capable of operating from tiny, makeshift runways. They wanted something compact, versatile, and capable of short takeoffs. Enter Charles Zimmerman, an aerodynamicist with a flair for the unconventional. He designed a circular, flat-body aircraft to generate maximum lift at low speeds. The Flying Pancake had a rounded body and propellers on each wingtip, making it look more like a cartoon than a war machine. Surprisingly, it actually flew. Test pilots reported it handled well, and its unique shape allowed it to take off in as little as 200 feet. However, it had its flaws. With a top speed of just 138 miles per hour, it couldn't outrun enemy fighters. It also vibrated like a cheap washing machine on full spin, making long flights a nightmare. Ultimately, the project was scrapped in favor of more conventional designs. Yet, the concept of vertical takeoff lived on, inspiring modern vertical takeoff and landing aircraft like the Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey and even today's drones. So, while it wasn't a war hero, the Flying Pancake left behind a legacy. Okay, let's jump across the Atlantic to Nazi Germany, where two brothers were quietly designing one of the most advanced planes of their time. The Horten Ho 229. If Batman had a plane in the 1940s, it would have been this one. Designed during World War II by Reimer and Walter Horten, this aircraft combined aerodynamic efficiency with jet propulsion, giving it a sleek, almost otherworldly appearance. With a top speed of 600 miles per hour, it was fast enough to challenge Allied bombers. But the Ho 229 was as mysterious as it was innovative. Only a few prototypes were built, and none saw combat before the war ended. When the Allies discovered it, they were stunned by its potential. Some even speculate its design inspired UFO sightings, or was reverse engineered from alien tech. Is it true? Probably not, but it sure makes for a fun story to ponder. Next up, if you thought one or two wings were plenty for a plane, think again. The Caproni Ca.60, built in 1921, boasted a staggering 9 wings, stacked in 3 sets of 3. And that's not even the weirdest part. This Italian creation, nicknamed the Trans-Aero, was an audacious attempt at a flying luxury liner. Gianni Caproni designed it to carry 100 passengers across the Atlantic in style. Think of it as a cruise ship of the skies. It had 3 fuselages, each with its own cabin, and 8 engines powering the monstrosity. When it rolled out, spectators were in awe. It looked like something a kid might dream up with too many Lego pieces. But dreams have a way of crashing, literally. On its maiden flight, the Ca.60 managed to lift off for about 60 feet before crashing into Lake Maggiore. It was a spectacular failure, and the plane was so badly damaged that the project was abandoned. Moving on to the Convair Sea Dart, the world's first and only supersonic seaplane. Developed in the 1950s, the Sea Dart was the U.S. Navy's solution to a tricky problem: how to operate jet-powered aircraft without massive aircraft carriers. The solution? A jet-powered seaplane that could take off and land on water. The Sea Dart had skis instead of traditional landing gear, allowing it to skim across the ocean's surface like a high-speed speedboat before lifting off. On paper, it was a brilliant idea. In reality, not so much. The plane had stability issues, and high-speed takeoffs often turned into terrifying nosedives. During one test flight, a Sea Dart disintegrated mid-air, killing the pilot and putting the entire program on ice. Only a handful were built, and none entered active service. Still, the Sea Dart remains a fascinating footnote in aviation history. It's the only seaplane to break the sound barrier, a unique claim to fame. Okay guys, if you thought regular planes were cool, wait until you hear about NASA's X-planes. Starting with the X-29 with its forward-swept wings. It looked like something out of Star Wars, but proved that unconventional designs could improve maneuverability. Or the X-15, a rocket-powered plane that still holds the record for the fastest manned flight. Over 4,500 miles per hour. Fun fact, it flew so high that pilots earned astronaut wings. NASA's latest project, X-59, aims to bring back supersonic passenger flights without the deafening sonic booms. The plane, by the way, measures 99.7 feet long and 29.5 feet wide, making it an engineering marvel. Honestly, these X-planes aren't just experiments, they're the building blocks of the future. Every weird design, every daring test flight, takes us one step closer to a new era of aviation. And isn't that the most exciting kind of weird? Next up, let's talk about a plane that was too big, too ambitious, and just a little too wooden for its own good. The Hughes H-4 Hercules, better known as the Spruce Goose. Howard Hughes, the eccentric billionaire behind the project, would want you to get one thing straight. It wasn't made of spruce. It's mostly birch. But let's be honest, Birch Goose doesn't quite have the same ring to it. This flying behemoth was born out of necessity during World War II. With metal in short supply, Hughes was tasked with designing a massive transport plane capable of ferrying troops and cargo across the Atlantic. And when I say massive, I mean massive. The Spruce Goose had a wingspan of 320 feet, the largest of any plane ever built, even today. But the war ended before the plane was completed, and by the time it was ready, its purpose was already obsolete. To make matters worse, skeptics doubted it could even fly. Hughes, never one to shy away from a challenge, took the plane on a single flight in 1947. For just 1 mile, at an altitude of about 70 feet, the Spruce Goose defied gravity. The brief flight made history, but the plane never flew again. Today, it's a museum piece, a symbol of both over-the-top ambition and the lengths we'll go to conquer the skies. Of course, not every weird plane became a legend. Some just became lessons. Take the Edgeley Optica, for example. This British plane was designed for low-speed surveillance, with a cockpit that looked like a giant bubble. The idea was to give pilots a panoramic view, perfect for police work or wildlife monitoring. Despite its innovative design, the Optica was plagued by accidents and poor performance, eventually grounding the project. Another example is the Helios prototype, a solar-powered drone developed by NASA. Its goal was ambitious: to fly at high altitudes for extended periods, collecting data and testing renewable energy. Unfortunately, the Helios was too fragile for real-world conditions. During one test flight, strong turbulence caused it to break apart mid-air. While these projects didn't soar to success, their failures paved the way for future advancements. Without them, we wouldn't have the safer, smarter aircraft we rely on today. So here's to the underdogs. They may have flopped, but they deserve a slow clap for effort. Alright, let's get a little weird, and maybe a little spooky. Time to talk about the conspiracy theories surrounding the saucer-shaped Avrocar. This Cold War-era prototype, developed by the US Air Force and Canada, aimed to create a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that could hover like a helicopter and move as fast as a jet. Sounds futuristic, right? Well, it was, in theory. In reality, though, the Avrocar was riddled with technical issues. It could barely lift off the ground, and when it did, it wobbled like a poorly balanced frisbee. But because of its UFO-like appearance, conspiracy theories started swirling. Some claimed it was reverse-engineered from alien technology, while others linked it to UFO sightings near military bases. Of course, the truth is far less exciting. The Avrocar was just an ambitious project that didn't quite work out. But the idea of alien-inspired aircraft is fun to think about. After all, who doesn't love a good government cover-up story? Moving on, the thing about weird designs is they often seem impractical or absurd at first, yet some of them end up shaping the future of aviation. Take blended wing-body aircraft. These manta ray-like planes were once considered too unconventional for commercial use. Now, companies like Airbus and NASA are exploring their potential to reduce fuel consumption and increase passenger capacity. If successful, they could revolutionize air travel. Or look at hypersonic gliders, which are currently being developed for both military and civilian applications. These aircraft borrow design elements from experimental planes like the X-15 and aim to reach speeds of Mach 5 or higher. Even autonomous drones with their unusual shapes and unconventional flight patterns are becoming a regular part of our skies. What once seemed like science fiction is now an everyday reality. The aviation industry thrives on pushing boundaries, even if it means making a few weird-looking planes along the way. And that's a wrap. So which of these wild designs surprised you the most? Or do you know of another oddball plane we missed? Drop your comments below. Before you go, don't forget to check out my recent video, The Plane That Broke Apart, Mystery South African 295. Keep flying high with us. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and be ready for more stories that defy the skies.